one of the questions though that I wanted to talk about, or one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, and there's not a ton of time, so I might kind of have to hustle through this. Last week, I kind of talked about where my journey started, as I used to be an elementary school teacher, hopped out of that, did about everything that I could in internet marketing, failed miserably at it, was really stressed out, was having a really, really hard time. Hey guys, thanks for joining. And then what I realized in time was just this importance of proof, and that's kind of what I learned in this client, my first major client over in Japan. I learned how to track what I was doing, how to prove what I was doing. And it was the piece was that I was missing that I talked about last week was the ability to close the loop. So everything that I just told you about how to get your ROI from TikTok, that is exactly the process in mastering funnels that I learned. So I learned this process on this client, which I'm about to tell you. So I came to a client who was running ads online, and they have a really good offer, right? It is a 6-figure offer. They supply some equipment to other businesses who are trying to grow up their own business. I'm trying to be vague here. So it's a 6-figure sale most of the time for each of these sales. And so it made a lot of sense to them to have a marketing funnel, how to have some inbound ads. What they didn't have in place was, one, somebody looking at this, right? So they have a good offer, they have a good established business, they have tons of people who are raving about them, but they just didn't master how to bring people in with intent. And so what I did for them is we did really 3 main things as far as ads are concerned. And that was Google search ads, because people looking for this specific equipment. We did a Facebook ad that highlighted their product and or products, because there's multiple products. And then the third one was YouTube ads. And so the YouTube ads was a little bit harder just because there wasn't as much intent. And I honestly didn't have as much experience in YouTube back then. So what was missing though was this loop. The pixels were missing, so retargeting pixels. So they were driving people into their website with some Google search ads. That was running before I jumped on. And they were just kind of, the keywords weren't really organized. There was no on-page SEO. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. It was just kind of done. It wasn't done poorly, I would say, but it just wasn't managed daily by somebody who needed to get in there and look at things every single day and optimize them. So what I did was I jumped in. And this was the first client where I had the opportunity to do everything. We're talking Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, Facebook ads, and search ads. So I found the search ads that worked. You bet. Hey, thanks for hopping into this. So I found the search terms that worked, that people were coming to the website and spending the most time on and actually filling out a request for a quote. And then we optimized our pages around that. We did keyword updating on the website. And then slowly but surely, as we drove traffic in from Google search ads to these pages, people stayed on page. And that's one of the most important things in SEO is people staying on the page. So when people stayed on the page, this business starts to move up the ranking. And if you're running Google search ads for that specific keyword, that just moves you up further and further and further. So it's a really good way to grow your SEO and to decrease your cost per click. That's a solid way of doing it. But the other opportunity that I had was setting up Tag Manager and setting up these retargeting pixels. You see, before I had arrived, they were running ads, driving people to their website. But then as soon as those people left, they weren't staying in front of them at all. So think about how much money is being wasted by driving interested people to a website, but as soon as they leave, you're not staying in front of them. And so that is where I sort of cut my teeth on retargeting as well. And I've learned this really good hack for Facebook boosted posts. Then, most of the time people think about Facebook boosted posts and it's an absolute waste of money, which I agree it can be. But there's also these things within all ad platforms that can just be leveraged like nobody's business. And that's exactly what we did. So I took this one ad and I turned it into a post. And then I ran that at the top of the funnel, I ran it at the middle of the funnel, and I ran it at the bottom of the funnel. And I ran it to existing customers. Well, the people who were existing customers, showered love onto that post, talked about how great this company was. The people who were about ready to buy or getting interested could see those comments, and then they found that very appealing. And then the people who was the very first contact with this business, well, then that was social proof. So what I learned then was this importance of social proof. And the thing is, we just followed the ROI because we had it all set up. We had it built in analytics. We had the ROI there. We had UTM tracking, so we knew our ROI. So we spend, I don't know what our ad spend was the first month, whether it was 3,000 or 4,000. I don't remember. This was a couple years ago, but we just kept spending more and more and more and more. And by the end of the year, we had taken this business who had revenued $14 million a year before, and we took them to $24 million in just 1 year. Their leads were up 33%. The quality of those leads were greatly improved, and the cost per lead was lower. So cost per lead lower, more leads, and the leads were better. So that's like the winning combo of how to scale a business. And that was my first 8-figure funnel for a client. I've gone on to help one other client build an 8-figure funnel, helped clients do multiple clients do 7-figure funnels, and then multiple clients and partners do 6-figure funnels as well.